カスと翻訳始まるよ。
It's like an out-of-body experience every time I turn on the episode and just immediately get greeted with this masterpiece of an opening. What a great way to get us started. Looks cold. I just giggle at the fluent Japanese in Russia. I know. Oh, he said something in Russian. До свидания. V-chan. I already got a nickname and everything. I just imagine what would have happened to me if, like, my favorite skater just showed up at my house and was like, I'm gonna train you. And I'm like, okay. I'd be so embarrassed. Here we go. Okay, I just have to pause it right here because this skater is so modeled after Ashley Wagner at the time, and if you've been watching any of my medalist stuff, you might know Ashley Wagner is my all-time favorite skater. I've met her multiple times. She's super, super sweet. She's the only skater that I follow post-competitive retirement too. She has a podcast, all that fun stuff. Anyway, she posted a picture of this character, I think right here. I think she started watching it when she saw that because it's the red hair, the blue eyes, and the outfit. It's literally her when she was competing. So they were also using a lot of reference of other skaters, I believe, when they were making this. And it's just dang, it's Ashley. And I think when she posted that was when I was like, okay, I'll watch this show. Because I was in my, complete, just all things skating when this show was airing. So, fun fact. Just watching him. Eh? The English is killing me too. Wow! Amazing! Bro. Wow! I'm dying. That's kind of helpful because the hardest part about skating is competing. From a skater's perspective, that is so in violation of so many rules. Oh my gosh. I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but yeah, that's violating the rules. Coaches having the same hotel room as our students, sleeping in the same bed, staying at the same house, that's all very much in violation of, at least here, I don't know exactly, because we have safe sport here in the States, and I think that's just a US thing. I don't know what they have in Japan, I don't know what they have in Russia, but here, that's violating rules, for sure, 100%. Just throwing that out there. Yeah, it's you're a fanboy. You have all of the posters and stuff, and now he's trying to barge into your room. Konnichiwa. Hi. Easy quad flip. Told you, it's okay. Gonna bring a lot of attention to this ice rink. It'd be absolutely terrifying. Nearly all figure skaters have ballet training in some way. There's full ballet classes that they offer for figure skaters. A lot of rinks have ballet studios where they hire on ballet instructors just to come in and instruct skaters. And it works on so many things. It works on your flexibility, it works on your toe point, it works on your lines, it works on your hand placement. It is very, very common for skaters to be quite good at ballet because you work really hard at it and it helps supplement, you know, that artistic side of skating. I've even known skaters that got so good at ballet, the instructor wanted them to do point ballet, and it was like, no, like, this has never been the main thing for me. This has always been the secondary thing to help with my skating. So ballet is a very, very prevalent thing for skaters. I think my first ballet class I took when I was 7. It's very hard. You can just tell that he is not a coach. So I've talked a lot in Medalist about how not all figure skaters can become coaches because there's just a lot of different things. Like, you can know how to do something, but knowing how to teach something is different. But in Victor's case right now, there's two sides of it. A lot of coaches do want to truly get to know their skaters and know them as a person and be invested in their life in general. While other coaches, it's more of a, like, they are just invested in their skaters skating. And there's good things and bad things about both sides. I prefer to have a coach that was very invested in my entire life and supported me in a lot of different things. My former coach, I remember when I got my first, like, big girl job where I stopped working at restaurants and started working in an office. When I told her, like, she came to the rink and gave me Starbucks and, you know, was, like, very invested in my just life as an adult. At that time, I was 21, I think. So it's a different thing. Most coaches at the high level, though, usually tend to just kind of be the coach. But at the same time, Victor is only taking on Yuri, so he's obviously going to ask him, but he's very straightforward. Which is, like, again, a lot of what he's asking could be considered violating rules. Because it is supposed to be a professional relationship. I know where we're heading. I do remember that. But anyway, it's just funny to me. Inside is... Am I watching this in dub or something? That's so funny. Here we go. I remember we got a rivalry coming up. I was gonna say, they're gonna have lots and lots of people. He's so hot! I mean... Yes. The leopard print. You posted on social media. So he just did a quadruple Salchow, but he did, like, some 3 turns out of it. So he gets the base value for that quad Salchow, which is very high, especially in junior level. I believe I didn't see the men's free skate at Junior Worlds. I don't think that just happened a couple weeks ago, but I believe you can still win without a quad if you're just, like, a really good, well-rounded skater. But what he did is he did the quad Salchow, but then he got negative grade of execution on it because he didn't perform it well. So he didn't get the full base value of points because when you get negative grade of execution, they take away points from the base value. And also, he didn't fall, which is good because a fall, just you keep piling on the points getting taken off of your score. But it can affect his component scores with that performance and execution mark because now he's not skating a perfect program. Probably the reason why his coach is mad right now is because when you go out there and you do something that's maybe too difficult for you and you don't perform it perfectly, it can still end up costing you more points than just doing something that you know how to do well. Because a base value is based off of difficulty, but then the grade of execution is based off of how well you do it. So if you go out and you do a jump that is high in base value, but you don't execute it well, you can still lose more points than if you just do something that is a lower difficulty, so a lower base value, but you perform it so well that you add so many points. So it's give or take. That's right. Pausing again. So when it comes to coaching, usually skaters at high level like this have an entire coaching team. So what he's asking Victor to do is not necessarily to coach him, it's to choreograph a program for him. And in skating, there are a lot of choreographers that are specialists in just that. They don't teach skaters how to jump, how to spin, the technique of all that stuff. They work with a skater for a period of time each season to create their programs before, that skater goes just back to working with their regular coaching team. In skating, there are all kinds of different specialists, and at the high level, you're going to have your main coach that does a little bit of everything, but you're also going to have a jump technician, a spin technician, a choreographer, an off-ice technician, a ballet instructor. So what he's just doing here is he's asking Victor to choreograph for him, not necessarily to coach him. Okay, here we go. Yuri and Yuri. 二人Yuri. Just saying, if you get caught kicking one of your competitors like that, you're gonna get banned. Triple axel out of a spread eagle. Easy. You don't need to go back to Russia for that. Just have him do it there. Okay, I remember, yeah. One week is a very short period of time to learn a program and perfect it. It's Yuri versus Yuri! The headlines write themselves. Hot springs on ice. He's very demanding. Yurio. Victor is very Gojo coded. That sounds so nice. Rings here, don't do that. I'd have to book private ice, and it's so expensive to do that. I like how Victor just immediately was like, okay, Yurio! 1 week is tough to learn a new program and perfect it. However, if that's all the time you're spending every day, you're just spending hours upon hours of it, then you can do it. I remember where this is going to. It's all coming back to me as I watch this. Mm-hmm. Yep. So skaters almost always will have a, what's the word? A style. So most skaters will always lean heavily towards a comfort level, and some skaters will prefer, you know, like the slow, more expressive in this way, where it's like a beautiful piece of music with violin, more classical. And then other skaters tend to lean more towards the sassy, sexy, you know, just kind of like, give me some shoulder shimmy. And then there's some that are kind of more in the middle. There are few skaters that can do all of it. You usually can tell like if a skater is doing something that's outside of their comfort zone, because they usually skate in a way that kind of, to me at least, tells me they're a little bit uncomfortable. In the case of currently, I would say someone like Kaori Sakamoto, she is a skater that I feel like she's most strong at like the powerful music, because she's a powerful skater. She really is very fast. She has a deep knee bend. Her jumps are big. She's very explosive and kind of wild, and that's more of her style. But this year she's skating to All That Jazz, the Chicago soundtrack, in her free skate. When I saw her first skate, I was a little like, I can tell this is outside of her comfort zone, just because it's still very big music, but she's not into the like shoulder shimmy, sassy, you know, kind of like playful side. She's more big and explosive with like just bombastic music, classical music. But as she has done this program over and over again, she's getting more and more comfortable with it. Ashley Wagner is kind of the opposite of that. She always does the very like sassy, like one of her most well-known pieces of music was Hip Hip Chin Chin, where she's all out there doing her shimmies and flipping her hair, flipping her ponytail, you know, doing all that fun stuff. And then when she skated to Romeo and Juliet, which is very emotional, she definitely was outside of her comfort zone. In fact, she ended up switching programs because she just couldn't skate it well, because she just didn't like the program. So there's definitely very much so every skater will have their comfort level, but if you want to surprise, and the whole point of what Victor is trying to introduce them to is go outside of your comfort zone. Surprise the audience. It's very obvious that that means that you're going to skate to the piece of music that doesn't speak to you, that you don't want to do, because you have to force yourself outside of that comfort zone. Oh! Dang! Wow. Wow. He just said some fighting words with a smile on his face. Now he's going on an extreme side and saying, you'll be my coach, not just my choreographer. Very different thing. Okay, so that was Yuuri on Ice episode 2. So I'm just gonna say this now. This show is definitely a lot more on the theatrics of skating than something like Medalist is. So again, it's kind of hard for me to relate to this. Like, they're getting things right. Like, when it comes to what the jumps are, very realistic. You know, I keep mentioning it. It's funny to me that they're all speaking fluent Japanese. Of course, like, in the real world, there would be a huge language barrier. And people do go work with coaches from other countries that speak other languages than them. And many times they actually have to work through a translator in order to be able to work with that coach, because there is such an extreme language barrier. So the English words is funny, because I know English is considered to be kind of the universal language, so everyone tries to learn that, but it just makes me giggle a little bit. But that's not really a skating thing, that's just a, you know, Western shows do that too, where just everyone's speaking English and it's like, this person is German, this person is Japanese, this person is Italian, this person is Korean, you know, like, they wouldn't be speaking fluent English. There would be a huge, huge language barrier happening here. But I digress. I think my biggest question is, I'm wondering if they looked into at all what the requirements are to actually be able to coach someone. So like here in the United States, for reference, if I wanted to get back into coaching, there's all kinds of memberships that I have to join. There's continuing education I have to do. I have to pass some tests to prove that I know skating. And of course, that's in the United States. And so in order to be able to be like credentialed at a competition, which means you are at the ice with your skater, putting your skater on the ice as we call it, you have to have certain memberships proof. You have to be a member of the Professional Skaters Association. There's all kinds of things you have to do. And then the higher level your skater is, the more you have to prove. You have to do certain higher levels of continuing education, which means you're like taking tests every single year and that sort of thing. Again, that's just in the United States. I don't know what it's like in Japan. I'm assuming they're pretty strict as well, that like a coach just can't show up and just start coaching. In the case of this ice rink, of course, it's very different because this ice rink obviously doesn't have much going on. Most ice rinks also just have rules. Like you have to prove that you're a member of X, Y, and Z. You have to prove that you have your accreditation for certain levels and that sort of thing in order to even just be able to coach at a rink. And then you're also paying fees in order to coach at that rink and that sort of thing. They're not really digging deep into that. I think that would be very boring for a regular audience, but I can definitely say that this show, I feel like it's a good mix so far of realism. You know, they're getting the jumps right. They're showing the steps correctly. You know, it's not incredibly unrealistic like Ice Princess is, which, by the way, if any of you ever want me to react to Ice Princess, that was my guilty pleasure growing up because that movie is just all kinds of unrealistic, but it's so fun to watch. Let me know. I'll react to that one.
それでは今日出てきた英単語を振り返ってみましょう。
Out of body.
この表現は Out of Body Experience の略として使われることが多く、自分の意識が体から離れているような現実感のない状態や不思議な感覚を指します。超常現象としての体験だけでなく、驚きやショックで現実味を失った時にも恣意的に使われます。こちらがその英単語を使った例文です。
After hearing the news, I felt like I was having an out-of-body experience.
その知らせを聞いた後、自分が体から離れているような感覚はした。
The performance was so intense, it was like an out-of-body moment.
そのパフォーマンスはあまりにも衝撃的で、まるで体外離脱のようだった。ユーリオンアイスのオープニングは出来がいいので、この表現を使って褒められていましたね。日本語で言うところの幽体離脱のような表現でしょうが、英語だと割とポジティブな意味になるんですね。
Barge into.
この表現は、ノックせずに無理やり入る、乱入するという意味の表現です。人の空間や会話に突然割り込む、遠慮のない態度を表します。失礼な行動とみなされることが多いです。こちらがその英単語を使った例文です。
He barged into the meeting without knocking.
彼はノックもせずに会議室にどかどか入ってきた。
Don't just barge into my room like that.
そんな風に勝手に私の部屋に入ってこないで。ビクトルは有利のコーチをするだけでなく、何でも知りたいと言って部屋にまで押し入ろうとしていましたね。もうなんというか、B と L の匂いがプンプンすると言われてもしょうがないシーンでしたね。
Flexibility.
この単語は、柔軟性や融通の利くことを意味します。体の柔らかさを表すだけでなく、考え方やスケジュールなどが柔軟であることにも使われます。対義語はリジディティです。こちらがその英単語を使った例文です。
Yoga helps improve both mental and physical flexibility.
ヨガは心と体の柔軟性を高めるのに役立つ。
We appreciate your flexibility with the schedule.
スケジュールの調整に応じてくれて感謝します。フィギュアスケーターは柔軟性を鍛えるためにもバレエもやる人がほとんどだそうですね。バレエにフィギュアスケート、さらに柔道で金メダルまで取れると、きっとストリートファイトで最強になれますね。
Supplement.
この単語は、足りないものを補うものという意味で使われます。栄養補助食品としてのサプリメントや、 教材資料の補足としての使用も一般的です。動詞として補足するという意味もあります。こちらがその英単語を使った例文です。
She takes vitamin supplements every day.
彼女は毎日ビタミンサプリを飲んでいる。
This guide is meant to supplement the main textbook.
このガイドはメインの教科書を補足するためのものです。多くのフィギュアスケーターは美的感覚を養うためにもバレエを習うそうですね。この英単語を見ると日本語的にはサプリメントと一瞬見えてしまいますね。あれはあくまで補助的なものなのでしっかりと食事をしましょう。
Prevalent.
この単語は広く存在する、一般的に見られる、流行しているといった意味の形容詞です。容器、習慣、考え方、ファッションなどが社会で広く見られるときに使われます。こちらがその英単語を使った例文です。
Smartphone addiction is prevalent among teenagers.
スマホ依存はティーンエイジャーの間で広く見られる。
The belief is still prevalent in some rural areas.
その信念は今も一部の地方で根強く残っている。先ほどからバレエの話になりますが、それほどフィギュアスケーターの間ではバレエは広く普及していると言えますね。メダリストのおかげで、フィギュアスケートの人気も上がってきている感じがありますね。
Big girl job.
この表現は少しユーモラスにちゃんとした職業や大人としての本格的な仕事を指すカジュアルな言い方です。安定した会社勤めや専門的な仕事など、責任感のある職業に就いた時に使われます。こちらがその英単語を使った例文です。
She finally landed a big girl job after college.
彼女は大学卒業後、ついにちゃんとした大人の仕事2ついた。
Time to get a big girl job and move out.
そろそろちゃんとした仕事について、一人暮らしを始める頃かな。本編でもちょっとだけ触れましたが、ビッグボーイジョブとも言うらしいですね。それなりに仕事ができて、食えるようになることが大人になるという認識は、どこの国でも変わらないのかもしれません。
Sassy.
この単語は生意気だけど魅力的なハキハキしていて自信があることを意味する表現です。特に堂々としていて自己主張が強い女性に対してポジティブに使われることもあります。創詞も似ていて少し小悪魔的軽く失礼な印象を含む場合があります。こちらがその英単語を使った例文です。
She's smart, sassy, and knows what she wants.
彼女は賢くて生意気、そして自分の欲しいものがはっきりしている。
Don't get sassy with me.
私にそんな生意気な口聞かないでよ。今回は音楽としてちょっと小粋なという感じの意味で、この単語が使われていました。まあ、ちょっと小生意気というか、小悪魔的な面がある方が魅力的っていう場合もありますからね。
Violation.
この単語は法律、ルール、権利などを破ることや侵害することを指します。規律に反する行為やプライバシーの侵害など重大さに応じて幅広く使われます。こちらがその英単語を使った例文です。
That's a serious violation of company policy.
それは会社の方針に対する重大な違反です。
Entering someone's room without permission is a violation of privacy.
無断で誰かの部屋に入るのはプライバシーの侵害です。コーチが一つ屋根の部屋で同宿し、ましてや同じベッドで寝るのは少なくともアメリカではルール違反に当たるそうですね。ルール違反というかおそらく犯罪に当たると思いますので、ああいう日本のノリでアメリカには行かない方がいいと思います。